Hey everybody, welcome to our Quick Start Guides webinar for University Impacts and Studyless Tourism. I think we're going to give everybody just a minute or two to finish filing in here, and then we'll go ahead and get started. All right, it looks like the attendees are starting to kind of taper off here. 117, great attendance for today. We'll go ahead and get it going. For those of you who haven't attended any of our webinars before, of course, you're always welcome to ask questions along the way. Feel free to hop into the chat box at any time, and our lovely assistant Candy Klaus is going to be attending to your questions here along the way. That kind of brings us to introduction. So you are stuck with me today, your senior product manager at IMPLAN. My name is Daniel Dewar. I have the privilege of handling a lot of IMPLAN's new feature development and a lot of our customer development outreach. I'll throw it over to Candy Klaus here for just a sec to tell you a little bit about her background.
Good everyone, my name is Candy Klaus. I'm the Vice President of Customer Success and Education Services here today, and I am pleased to be partnering with Daniel on this presentation. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat box. I'm monitoring those live over here, and with that, I'll throw it back to Daniel.
Sweet, thanks Candy. So a quick look at what we're going to be doing today. We will touch briefly on kind of the mission and vision for Quick Start Guides as a whole for folks who may be newer to IMPLAN or folks who may not have attended any of our webinar series over the course of this year. And then we'll dig into today's topic, which is our newly added University Impacts and Studyless Tourism Guides. We'll talk about what those are, what you could do with them, and how to use them. And then we'll take a quick sneak peek at guides moving forward, and we will open it up for questions if there's any time remaining here, or if folks have anything that they weren't able to resolve via the chat box. So with that being said, we will hop right into kind of guides at large. So for folks who may be either newer to IMPLAN or haven't poked around in the library yet, the long and the short of it is that we've been working on a library of use case focused, you can kind of think of them as wizardized experiences that really help folks, get to analysis and impact outcomes, in ways that are a little bit more streamlined and probably a little bit more approachable than the platform at large. So the goal for these is really to get folks to, results quickly and easily. And possibly with a little bit more help along the way. If you've used any of our project design guides in the past, you'll see a lot of similarities in terms of how we lay out the analysis design and things like that. But ultimately, these are live, native within the app, and you can actually produce results with them, today. So they definitely go a little bit farther than our previous efforts. At addressing, some of the questions that you see here. I think a lot of newer IMPLAN users might be able to relate to, things like, hey, am I defining this field correctly? Am I using the right event type? Or maybe you're not even sure necessarily how to approach the analysis that you'd like to generate. The guides are really intended to try to make those questions somewhat a thing of the past, maybe not entirely. But we're really shooting for, adoption help here, and getting folks over the hurdle of, hey, where do I start? Hey, I need to take a first crack at, an analysis I've never done before. And we're really doing that on a use case by use case basis for folks. And this is definitely a collaborative thing with our user base. I know I've reached out to, probably almost 30 to 40 different interviews over the past 6 months, with IMPLAN users. And it's been, incredibly gratifying to, be able to get that feedback and then incorporate that into what we see in the platform today. That's going to continue to be our mandate moving forward. We really, really want this to be something that, helps serve users, and incorporates things that they'd like to see into the platform. So if you have a use case that you're interested in, or feedback on our current guides library, of course, please reach out at product@implan.com. This is absolutely something that we are looking to continue to make collaborative as we continue to roll out new guides and iterate on this as things move forward. So our first topic today is going to be Studyless Tourism. So I'm going to hop out of the deck for just a sec and over into IMPLAN itself. How's everybody seeing, or how's everybody looking at the browser? Candy, we looking okay, size-wise?
It is looking okay. We do seem to have a few people who are now having trouble with audio. So
interesting.
I am hearing everything just fine on my end.
I will get even closer to the microphone if I can.
Yeah. Please, everyone, check your settings. That might be what's going on. And we'll try to see if there's anything going on with GoToWebinar.
Okay, and if anybody wants anything repeated or reviewed again, don't hesitate to drop something in the chat for Candy there, and we will revisit to try to alleviate issues wherever we can. So that being said, we're looking at Studyless Tourism here, and the way that we're going to access that is, of course, via our guides library. So the first question that you might be asking is, hey, where is Studyless Tourism? Well, it actually lives within our generalized tourism impacts guide. So what we've done is actually created a branch within this guide that lets you access this new functionality right alongside, our traditional spending category driven tourism analysis. So the way that you would go about doing something like that is simply selecting this option here at the beginning of the guide. No, I'd like to use IMPLAN's distribution of spending across commodities. And what this is going to do for us is it's going to set up an event essentially that uses a spending pattern rather than category-based spending. So I'll hop into the category-based portion just to show folks that may not necessarily have seen this or are seeing this for the first time, what that portion of the guide looks like. This is a scenario where when I have specific data about individual, spending categories that I'd like to perform an analysis on, I can come in and select these. Not everybody may have that kind of data offhand, or they may have a rough overall spend figure. And in that kind of scenario, we wanted to give folks an option that, still enabled them to view the impact of their tourism event, essentially, without necessarily forcing them into having a full-fledged study. So when I select this option, I will still select a region, and I'll do, IMPLAN's home in North Carolina for this example, just like I would for any other guide or any other analysis. And then all I need to do is input a total spend amount for my tourism event. So I'm going to say that I want to simulate, $20 million of tourism in the state of North Carolina. And you might be going, okay, well, Daniel, how the heck does that turn into an impact? So we, on the back end, using BEA and OECD data, are actually creating a custom distribution of commodities that represents U.S. tourism spending. So this is again grounded in publicly released data, but what we've done is create a spending pattern that allows us to distribute that overall spend over appropriate commodities for your average U.S. tourist. So when I do that, I'm going to select a dollar year, of course. This is going to be when the actual event is happening for me. And I can see an analysis overview here that tells me exactly what I've configured. So again, you'll see this represented as a household spending event. We're correcting the labeling on this because a lot of it is really just back-end magic for us at this point, but this is a customized spending pattern that IMPLAN has done based on that data release. I'm going to name my project and I'm going to say tourism spending pattern demo. And then so that we don't have to wait for it to run, I've already created this. You're going to get a summary report just like you will for most of our other guides with a few exceptions. But for the spending pattern driven tourism experience, you are going to get just a single overview card, which of course we can still export to, I believe it's PowerPoint. We'll see here in just a sec. But I still get the overall 5-category analysis for our summary reporting that we have for all of our guides. So I get total output, jobs supported, tax revenue, contribution to GDP, labor income, here up in a nice little bow. The other aspect of this that folks can, of course, always dig into is that data is available via our summary tab, just like it would be for any other analysis that you create with an IMPLAN. So if you are, maybe someone who says, well, I really like, the streamlined approach to creating the analysis, but I want the full, enchilada data experience, that is, of course, available here as soon as we get through our spinning wheel. But that is the gist for Studyless Tourism. What questions at this point can I answer? Anybody got a hand up? Candy, anything in the chat that we need to attend to?
Nothing major. Hopefully everyone's got sound again. Someone did ask if we could share the link, but I'm not sure what link they're looking for. I have a link to where the webinar will be posted after the webinar ends. But other than that, oh, we just got a new one. Please define tourism. Is this the only tourism inside the US, or does it count for foreign travel as well? You want me to take that one?
Yeah, go for it, Candy.
Sure. So tourism in this case is going to be defined as those visitors coming to the university. So doesn't matter where they're coming from, depending on your region. If we're talking about looking at the state of North Carolina, for example, where I'm sitting today, a visitor would be defined as anyone from not North Carolina. So anywhere else in the world except North Carolina would be a visitor, and those would be the dollars or the amount of visitors I want to put inside of the model. So it would account for foreign people coming over, just the same as it would account for someone from South Carolina coming over. And is the tourism available, or analysis can be done at the county level? Yes, you can pick which geography you would like to do the analysis at. So whether that's county, state, the US, whatever you are looking to do, that is definitely available to you. Is this available for Canadian subscribers? Daniel, you want to take that?
No, I don't believe so. This is currently available for US only. We are looking to expand into our international data sets for that, but that is forthcoming as of this time.
Great, thank you. And I am going to drop the link for the Quick Start Guides right in the chat. Kristen asked if you could go back to the summary overview.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we have a specific question on this, we'd be happy to field it. But if not, we will let folks grab another glance at it and head on into university.
One more question here. Do the allocations for tourism spending vary by state? They do not. This is an average spending based on tourism. So it is going to be the same for all places within the United States.
Yep.
And another one question came in. Can you show us where on the IMPLAN app you can find these guides?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and this will be a great segue into the university piece. So right underneath Get Started is the Guides button here. And then you have our Guides library with all the use cases that we support today. All right. So using that, I will go ahead and hop into the University Impacts Guide. So, we're really looking at helping users quantify the effect of universities on their region, because as we will see, this gets a little bit hairy depending on the kind of university that you have, and starts to introduce some permutations that might present some hurdles for users when they're trying to craft an analysis like this. So I will again start off with North Carolina as our region here within the guide itself. And then immediately I'm presented with a myriad of options, which kind of tells you a little bit about why some of these analyses might be a little hard to approach, especially for newer users. So when we are talking about quantifying the impact of university operations, the split that you'll see here right off the bat is public and private. So we're going to handle those impacts a little bit differently when we are quantifying those events within IMPLAN. And then within private universities, I also need to consider whether or not that university is a nonprofit university or a for-profit university. And we'll walk through kind of the analysis differences there and how the guide helps you take care of all of those in a nice, clean way. You'll also see that we have a couple of options down here. University construction and renovation is something that I can include in my analysis should I choose to, as well as visitor spending and student spending. So we kind of consider operations, capital impacts or, construction and renovation, and then spending either by visitors or students. It's kind of the four main pillars of a basic university impact. And this guide helps you start to walk through each of those step by step. In a way that I think would be a little intimidating for newer users, especially trying to look at this for the first time. For our example today, I will walk back and forth between the public and private piece here in just a sec, but we will do ultimately a public university. So if I'm looking at a private university, I'm going to be able to quantify the effect of its operations using our IIA template. So you may, for folks who have used construction and operations or some of our other guide types, you may see something that looks very, very familiar. You're going to be able to say, well, I know, the annual revenue of my university, or maybe I know total employment. Various other data points here along the way that we can use to quantify the operations of our university. The big thing with a nonprofit, however, is that we're going to want to restrict proprietor employment, profit really, and really control for tax revenue, because those are going to be handled a lot differently for nonprofits than they are for for-profits. And that really just shows up in the way that we have the data points configured here. Again, the guide handles all of this for you, but just to kind of highlight some of the under the hood nuance that ultimately shows up in crafting these analyses and how the guide helps you, make the right decisions along the way. Especially if it's the first time you're approaching something. When we do a public university, we're actually going to quantify that via a spending pattern. So we'll touch on a couple of different spending patterns today. Moving from the public university, I'm going to say that I have all three of these other analysis segments here that I'm going to want to roll into, and we will see exactly what that looks like when I start digging into it. So on the public university operations, we have an institution spending pattern that we can really basically roll up all of the operational impact into. So a lot more straightforward than some of the private stuff. I'm going to say that we have, let's say, an $150 million spending amount for our university here. That is really going to be all that I need to do to quantify the impact of my public university operations, which is going to take me right into capital impacts. And again, you'll notice a lot carrying over from construction and operations. You can model, a multi-year varied construction approach. You can model a identical, like year-over-year construction approach. For today, we're really just going to do a quick lump sum to show folks, everything that the guide has to offer. You'll note here that we have a couple of notes here on the specification selection for construction that you really ought to be using for an educational institution. That is, again, something you used to have to dig out of support.com. We're trying to, serve as much of that information here right within the platform as we can. And then I'm going to say that, for my construction scenario, let's say we're doing like a $7 million renovation, and that's really what I have. That's what I have to bring to the table here as far as construction goes. So I'll be able to enter that value here. If I'm confused at all about what it is, I can access support, again, pretty cleanly right here within the platform. and we'll see that IMPLAN is going to help me estimate some of the other components of that construction analysis based on the IIA event that we're constructing sort of in the background for this. That keeps us moving right along to spending. So there's two types of spending that you can quantify in this guide. The first being visitor spending. We're basically treating our tour or our university visitors, you may have heard Candy slip it in earlier, basically in the same way we treat general tourism visitors. So you could imagine this as somebody, coming in for a sporting event, that kind of thing. So the same overall commodity distribution will be used here to give us an idea of what these tourist, visitors are bringing to our region, within the context of our university. I'm going to say that they are spending $2 million a year. We have a relatively smaller university. This is, only $150 million. Same thing on student spending. So the key difference here, we are using a completely separate spending pattern, one that has been customized and tailored to represent university students. So we are emphasizing certain commodities and removing others when we do that. And again, IMPLAN has kind of taken the guesswork out of a lot of this. Our very talented economists are sitting behind the screen there, basically saying, hey, this is what really should be used to represent student spending. We're not going to make you go through and guess and modify the spending pattern yourself. And of course, you're always welcome to do that should you want to go create an analysis via our impacts interface. So if you have very tailored specific information about the spending you'd like to model, that is always an opportunity. However, this one we've kind of set the baseline for and said, hey, we're going to go ahead and tell you what we think it ought to be for a generalized student spend. And I'm going to put $2 million in here again, just to keep things nice and easy for us. We'll always end up picking $1 a year for the operations and spending portions of the analysis. And the reason that's segmented from construction is that construction can sometimes encounter multi-year scenarios. And so we like to do those two separately. You'll see the overview of your analysis before you run it. So again, you can see our public university operations. You can see our construction event. You can see our spending events down here. And then we'll go ahead and click run as soon as we name this. So we'll call this university spending, or university impacts, I should say, demo, and I'll throw another caveat on it. And we will, use Movie Magic to skip the analysis run phase for this. Looking at the summary reporting output for university impacts, you're going to get a summary overview card for each segment of the analysis that you have entered. So we see our big five here for university operations in both numeric and text form. We get the same thing for construction, visitor spending, and student spending. And of course, these can all be exported to PDF. And if you really, really would like to dig in and slice and dice some of this, always the data is available via our traditional summary overview as well. That is university impacts in a nutshell. So you can kind of see how there's a little bit of nuance depending on the type of university that you have that goes into crafting the events for an analysis like this. And ultimately, it's something that the guide provides the appropriate guardrails for and can greatly ease your adoption when you're trying to take on an analysis use case like this. Any questions? I know we're coming up on time. Candy, anything in the chat that we want to attend to?
Oh, this is an exciting topic, and we have a ton of questions coming in.
Good.
So I've been trying to get to them. Let's just grab a few here that seem to have a theme. Hopefully my audio is better. That was a theme.
I can hear you okay.
Yeah, is that okay? Great. Targeting a certain type of tourist. So within the guide, you're able to make a few modifications. Daniel, could you pop back into the application and show us what we can look at the different types of spending by our tourists?
Yes, absolutely. So via the I would say category-based spending pattern analysis, or sorry, tourism analysis. We've done a lot of spending patterns today. You're able to work with a variety of different categories, and again, these are pre-populated, but these are the heavy hitters for most tourism analyses that we see. So we can look at grocery spending, restaurants and bars, local transit, museums and parks, amusement, gambling, and recreation, at large, basically. And I can read the rest of these to you if you'd like. But I think the prudent thing for folks who are interested would be feel free to hop in, dig in, and peruse the guide yourself, because all of this is live for folks to dig into today.
All right, great. And I'm going to punt this one to you as well, Daniel. I'm not sure exactly what you ran, but I have a couple questions asking why the total output was not equal to 20 million, but instead showed 19.5.
That might be a transcription error on my end, or it may be leakages potentially. Unclear, but I can dig into that later if folks want to follow up via email.
All right, we'll definitely follow up with everyone who asked that question. And I'm sorry, I was monitoring the chat box, not watching what Daniel was running there. Daniel, where would we find information if people wanted to see what the distribution was across these different categories?
So we're going to post an article, I think, about that here pretty soon, because we do want to be upfront and transparent about the way that we've configured those things. So keep your eyes peeled and inbox monitored for communication on that.
Excellent, great. For the Studyless analysis, does it report the differentiation between local, state, and federal tax income?
Not as of right now, but we have that in the pipeline. So that is something that you will see coming shortly.
We would be able to pop over to the summary tab though, would we not?
I think I may have already navigated away from it, but I can whip one up real quick. Hang on.
So when we run one of these guides, you take into a new tab that pops up on your results screen that gives you those tiles of the specific information as well as some reporting that's available. But what you can always do is go to the tabs that you're used to seeing within IMPLAN that give you the overview for the analysis that you've run and allows you to use the filters to slice and dice the data as much as possible. So even though we're not directed to that summary tab, we can click on it and see the results, which would give us the breakdown by tax type. So there we go, defaulting to that reports tab. But if you pop over to that summary tab, all of that information is going to be available here in this box on the upper right is going to show us our tax results by the different taxing levels for this analysis.
And we are, when I say it's forthcoming, we are working on incorporating that into that summary overview as well, because that is a oft requested item.
All right. Well, there are a few more questions, but I want to be mindful of everyone's time. We will follow up via email to make sure all of your questions are answered. Or if you have any further questions, please feel free to email support@implan.com and we will get back to you as soon as we can. So thank you all so very much and have a wonderful afternoon.
Thanks, everybody.